Hey, Danny. From a guitarist's point of view, there are a few things more disappointing than when you're enjoying a great comedian and they pull out an acoustic guitar. Look, I love comedy, but who keeps telling these guys they'd be funnier if their jokes were slower due to their inability to change chords? To get to the other side. That is, unless you're watching Tenacious D. Kyle Gass, Kage, Rage Cage. Kyle Gass is a killer guitarist with a great feel, and he writes some very cool parts. Check out the opening track of their debut album, Kielbasa. That's awesome. So you can think of that as a very simple, G, F, and C progression. So G for one bar, then F and C in the next. But then what Kyle does is plays Jack's vocal melody over the top of that. It's very clever because he's playing the G chord like this, like a G5. I've got the A string muted there. And then bending, because you got to do the little bendy every once in a while. So yeah, slightly bending that B flat note, like a nice little blues third. Hammering onto the A in that F chord, hammering onto the E in the C chord. So I'm lifting that finger to get that open D in there again. And then after the third time, there's that little riff that plays exactly with the vocals. So G, B, C, B, A, B, G, F. Then the same, the end of the riff is the same. While we're on this one, Kyle does a very funky little acoustic guitar solo there after the first chorus, I guess we'd call it. Yeah, maybe we can loop that up. 3, 4. The tabs are there, but let's walk through that whole thing. I'm playing a G and a B flat up on the G and B strings, 12th fret, 11th fret. I've got my first finger laying across the rest of the strings so that I can get a nice bit of funk in the strum without all those nasty open strings ringing. And then, so I'm sliding to the 10th fret on the B string, back to the 8th fret, 10th fret on the G string, then a little hammer and pull on the 9th to the 10th. But notice staccato, so I'm not going, I'm going. And then, so 10th fret on the D string, little triplet hammer and pull off from the 8th to the 10th, 10th fret on the A string. Then it's back to the G chord, and there's a great little phrase that he plays here. 8, 10 on the A string, 8 on the D, back to the 10th on the A, then to the 9th, and giving that a little wiggle. That bend there, when he does that phrase the second time and ends on the 10th fret on the D string, you can hardly, it's the slightest little bend. Then a slower one for that last phrase. There's an electric guitar that comes in there and plays a harmony, bending the 9th back to the 7th, so you can do that there. Or down in the G pentatonic position. The standard way to do that double stop. Next up is History off the Pick of Destiny. I love Kyle's nimble strumming on the intro to this song. It rips along. It's based on a D to A minor 7 pattern, but once the song gets going, the pattern is D, A minor 7, D, C, G. So every second time it's a C and a G. And those little dyads, little two-note chords or dyads, are basically just parts of D and A minor 7 chords. It's all played over an open D string, and all the chord shapes are on the G and B strings. So I'm starting there with my second and third fingers, 8th fret on the B string, 9th fret on the G string, open D string, as I said, and slide straight up to the 10th and 11th. So those two notes are out of a A minor 7, and those two notes are out of a D, the A and the F sharp. There's a little incidental open B and G in between the chord change there. Then he goes down to the 5th fret, which those two notes, again, they're out of the A minor 7. Up to those two, 8th and 9th again. And then finally to the 7 and 7, which are those two notes out of a D chord. Hammer on from 5 and 5 to 7 and 7. Then skips really quick up to the 12th, 12 and 12 there. So back from 12, 12 to 10 and 11, 7, 7 to 5, 5, up to 8 and 9. So that's the whole thing. So the strumming pattern for this thing is basically down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down. But it's in like a super fast 6/8. Oh no, Carl, 1, 2, 3. Next we've got Kickapoo, the opening track from the Pick of Destiny.
'Cause it's a pack!
This one kicks off with a very cool 6-measure pattern. It's all in the key of C. D minor for 2 bars, A minor for 2 bars, then F for 1 bar, then C and G in 1 bar. And again, Kyle adds Jack's vocal melody to those chords, to the first chord anyway, and then a vocal harmony to the second chord. So he's playing G, F, E, F on the first 3 notes you'll learn out of Mel Bay is the melody of this song. Then he does the same thing for an A minor. D, C, B, C. The rest of it's just strumming, so the F chord, C to G. Also off the POD is Master Exploder, a hilarious song where Jack boasts of his vocal strength while Kyle blasts through a barrage of bar chords. So that's basically just an E5 chord. Then we go G, like a full G bar chord, although he's only strumming the top 3 or 4 strings. Then he changes to a C, but he's still got the G bass note there. Moves that up to a D with the same sort of thing over A bass note. Changes back to the A chord, the first bar chord shape. Straight up to B, so G, C, D, A sharp, B. Yeah, brilliant. That song also has some wicked lead guitar playing, some guitar harmonies, I imagine by John Konski, I don't know how to say his name, Konski. But we might have to work that stuff out for another episode. Let's move on to the D's third album, Rise of the Phoenix, where Kyle reprises his Kielbasa riff, but this time with a bit of a Spanish flavour. So this time he doesn't bend those notes because it is a song that's in G minor to a D in that intro. Then it modulates F to C. Now, one of the things I love the most about this song is that next chord change after the C, B flat sus 4 to then a sus 4 to an A. This is something that Tenacious D do an awful lot of. They flout diatonic tradition, which means that gives us some really rich and unexpected modulations and harmonies. This song, for instance, after that section, goes to a D major before modulating down a half step to C sharp minor. And it goes on from there. You know, it's really complex stuff, but I'm going to leave it there because I want to get back to the riffs. Meanwhile, back at the debut, Double Team. Double Team, what a great song. This has this really tender intro where Kage plays some lovely little arpeggios and hammers on small chord shapes up the neck. So then as the song builds and Jack's sexy lyrics build, Kage starts a really clever thing with playing the open E and B strings over all of those chords. I love that part. Then as the song builds, Kage's beautiful playing devolves into something decidedly more satanic sounding. He plays a riff with the flat 5 in it. Out of the side hatch. And after that bit, the cool 70s groove comes in, which is a fantastic riff. So that's heaps of fun. That's basically E to A, but we're playing kind of like little low double stops. So I'm doing 2-2 to 4-4. A little half or even quarter step bend. Then the same on the next pair of strings. Then Kyle comes in with this fantastic little funky unaccompanied riff. You step into our room. So all that's going on there is Kage's playing open A and D strings to 2nd fret. That's the first bar. Then he drops down a string and does that last riff again. Then bends those two strings a little bit. Finally, I have to include Kyle's intro to Jesus Ranch. Because apart from being a piss funny song, I absolutely love his F sharp chord in this. So, yeah. So basically he's playing an F sharp 5 chord, but he's got an open G string in the middle of it, which just sounds wrong when you hear it by itself, but it's beautiful in that song. It's perfect. It took me a while to figure out what the hell he was doing there. I mean, who has ever even played that chord before? You know, a flat 9, which is what that G note is in that chord. Yes, we use flat 9 chords in jazz. I don't think I've ever seen a flat 9 voicing on guitar that doesn't have the flat 7 underneath it. You know, that's a thing. That's a rule. So that is tremendous. The other thing I love about it is the way he just subtly puts that D note in between all the changes, like B minor, A. So he's coming from the A sus to the A. Quick little open D to the E. Hammers on that. Then another little open D. That jarring F sharp 5 flat 9, add flat 9 chord. Then again, puts the D in there to go back to the B. It's genius. It's lovely, lovely playing. You know, he's just got such a wonderful touch and a wonderful ear. Like, I'm sure he didn't sit down with a pen and go, you know what, I think I'm going to put a flat 9 in that last chord, and I think I'm going to do a little open D here and there. It's just how he plays. Anyway, look, go play these tunes. You got the tabs there. They are grouse fun songs to play along with. Check out the tabs at soundslice.com. You can Google the chords for these songs anywhere. There's enough sites that tell you the chords to strum through. But I'm just showing you some of those, some of my favourite Kage riffs and how he plays them. So I hope you've had some fun, and please feel free to give me a like and subscribe and ring that bell, and I'll see you soon.